On this episode, I want to start it by dedicating a song to you.
Okay.
And I will always love you.
Now the Bible says something
Mm-hmm.
that we should not esteem ourselves beyond what is.
That's your
what
own
is-
pot of soup. That's your own
beyond
pocket
what
of
is, and
fish.
everybody should stay according to the faith that God has given.
So what are you trying to say?
According
Speak,
to the grace
speak directly and speak to me.
Okay.
To
What
my
I'm
face.
saying is that you know what God has given you as gifts.
And
Why
I'm
don't
using
you
it.
stay with them?
And I'm using it.
Eh?
It's because you don't appreciate good sense.
No.
That's why.
You have to stay with it that God has
This is
given
my
you that.
cover of Whitney Houston's classic.
Okay.
And you stop me. Can I continue?
I've heard. Yeah.
I would have continued the song. It's just that I'm not sure that YouTube will allow us to upload the
Because
video.
your pitch can spoil the.
No, because of copyright issues now. There's nothing wrong with my pitch.
Wow, okay.
I
Wow,
sing
so
with
it's
a master
copyright issues.
key.
Okay.
No key greater than the key, which is Jesus. Glory to God.
Okay.
So on
Okay.
this episode, we are talking on what I was singing to you. Love versus lust. How did Thanos say it? We have come back. We've come back to relationship. We thought we've defeated it, but where has it brought us back? Well, we didn't feel, but yeah, we're back to relationship. Anyways, but this time around, I want to talk about something like love versus lust, and I think it's not just applicable to relationships; it's applicable to everything. On the difference between love and lust. Okay, so you know how I always like to start. Let's define it. Okay, let's define love. Let's define lust. And then even the love, I want to break it down in a certain way. Let's see how it goes. So, what's your definition of love? I'll also give you my definition of love.
Okay, my definition of love is, like Thomas Aquinas says, to will the good of somebody. That means that you know what is good for somebody, what is good for them, and then you try to achieve it, irrespective of the cost. Sometimes it might be costly, sometimes it might not be so costly. Yeah, right, but there'll always be a cost. There will always be a cost. And for you to work deliberately for what is their good, that's what it means to love them. So it's not a feeling, right? It's not a feeling. It's not a feeling of chemistry. It's not a feeling of the high. It's not a feeling of romance and all that. It's actually like a disposition towards a person.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it my singing that's I'm going to be singing throughout this episode?
Okay.
It's my expression of love for you.
You won't be able to view this thing. Don't do the thing that will chase people away from this
But
thing.
it's you that knows it. You will see that this will be our highest view.
Okay.
Just watch now.
All right.
Okay, so my definition of love, I think, is pretty much the same thing you said, really. Love is wanting the good of others. And then I will try and get to a root and defining it, because in defining things, I'm also very careful about how the terms you use to define things are also kind of clear, so that it's not misconstrued. Because when I say to will the good of others, I didn't necessarily say to will the happiness of others. Will good always make you happy? Even if not immediately, eventually, definitely will. Right?
That's actually safe.
Eventually, I think it will. Follow me. Right? So when I say to will the good of others, to want the good for others, that definition of good, I will not even try and start behaving like a philosophical ethics professor in trying to define good and evil. But that good there, I would say it's the will of God for the person. I'm just going to be clear in that. So to love someone is to want what God wants for them, which is the best, which is, God's will is good for you. And that's why I said there's a difference between happiness, because sometimes in getting through God's will for you, you will go through difficult situations. It's not always happy-go-lucky, big teddy bear up in the sky. Some things might, to borrow your favorite concept, painful. Some things might be painful and things like that. So that's what I'll define as love. It's beyond a feeling, right? It's not a feeling. It's not anything that. Now, before we go into definition of lust too, I think one of the biggest influences on our definition of love has been Hollywood's portrayal of it. So I want to differentiate Hollywood's definition of love from our definition of love.
So let's define lust first. By how we define lost is
It will be clear. Okay, so let's define lost.
Okay, so lost is having a desire for someone or for a thing, is to desire a person or something, because that thing will help you to gratify certain desires that you have, certain pleasures that you have. So there's some things that you find pleasurable, things that you find sweet, there's some things that your body or your psychology finds sweet. And then when you desire an object, a person or a situation or whatever it is, you shall desire an object that will help you to fulfill that pleasure. That's when it means to lust after that person. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So
it's giving to get, really.
No, you're not even giving. Let's not even get into
you might
that.
not even be giving, but just trying to get something. You can be either giving, you can be conniving, you can be whatever it is you're doing. You are desiring that thing for what it's going to give to you. For whatever satisfaction is going to give to you. Satisfaction could be so many types.
Exactly.
But you're going after something for what you can get from it.
Exactly.
Okay. So now that we've clarified that, how will you differentiate Hollywood's definition of love from what you've defined?
Okay. So funny enough, it's not just Hollywood that has fallen prey. I think it's an human instinct to fall prey for it. There is a point where it seems like as if lust and love overlap. If we keep in mind what definition of love is, which means to will the good of someone, that means that you're going to make sacrifices for the person because it will be costly, so that the person can have a good. Right? There is a part where that overlaps with lust. And where it overlaps is that there are many ways that people express their lust. Just like you said just now, you can connive to express your lust. You can use violence to get what you are lusting after. But there's also another way that people get what they are lusting after. That is by making sacrifices for what they're lusting after.
So in that particular instance, it can come across as...
So in that instance where you are making sacrifices to get what you are lusting after to fulfill your desires, it can look like love, where love is making sacrifices for the good of another person. So in that term, in that part of making sacrifices, they overlap.
Yeah.
In that instance, they overlap.
But love doesn't always make sacrifices.
Not always. I'm talking about the one that makes sacrifices.
If it ever comes to
part of making sacrifices, it will look like love. And that's where it can get very confusing. And so the only way that you can use to differentiate is for both of them, in such cases, is what is the end?
To what end?
To what end? The sacrifice is to what end? For lust, the sacrifice is to the end that the person will help you to gratify a desire. Love, the sacrifice you are making is to the end that the person will become good, or the person will get it.
Is it always that obvious? Even, most times if you ask to what end, before we go to...
Do you agree with my definition?
No, I
because
do.
This is where the meat of the conversation starts now.
Yes, because what I do, and let me add, right? And let me add attributes. Let me use attributes to kind of differentiate, right? I think for Hollywood's definition, one thing that I've seen constant, and it might not just be Hollywood, just like you said, but one consistent thing I've seen in defining love is to make other people happy. Right? So if you love a person, the person must be happy. Now, I don't now mean that if you love the person, because because of the way we've learned how to argue in this day and age, next thing I hear is, are you saying that? No, I'm not saying the person should be sad all the time for you to be loved. But
for you to be happy only to the measure to which the person's good makes them happy.
It's good. It's going to be good, right? We need to learn how to painfully go through. I've been Mr. Simpy.
We make 30 sad every day
by telling her she can't to stop watching TV
every single day. There's something we do that makes her cry.
Yeah.
You tell her you can't have food, go and sleep. You have to go to bed now. So you're making me sad. Daddy, why are you making me sad?
She's quite expressive about it.
She's very expressive. Say, Daddy, why are you making me sad? You're making me very sad.
True.
Say, why are you saying that to me? Why are you shouting like that to me? Because what is for her good?
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that's the one definition I've seen consistent. Let me see, is there any other thing? Yeah, I think it's always around happiness. Another definition I've seen of love is lost. Right, unknowingly. So let me give examples. How many movies have you seen where someone either walks into a bar or walks somewhere or sees a girl or a girl sees a guy, or they are reciting their, that scene where and you're like, from the moment I set my eyes on you, my whole world. No, they will say my whole world. What's that Bridgerton something that they are always saying? They are the bane of my existence.
They are the bane of my existence. Those are the lies that are using to pack you people's stew with bread.
A whole other human being. The bane of the, so things like that, right? And so those are some of the definitions where, and there are people who are expecting to, and they'll be like, oh my God, I'm not in love with this person and all of that. And I don't know if we're going to get to that point where we try to define also as well, because people always ask, okay, how do I know if I'm in love with the person and things like that? But let me not go there. So people just have that feeling like, oh, I don't love this person because I don't feel the butterflies that it seems like I'm meant to feel. But I think most of the time, those butterflies are really just attraction.
Lost.
Or
is the response of your body to the fulfillment of lust.
Yep. Or the response of your body to the expectation of the fulfillment of lust.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So those are some of the definitions. And now, so let's get into the meat of it. Love versus lust.
How do you tell the difference?
Because
it's a very big question, right? And the reason why it's an important question is because you will not always be the object of someone's desire.
So, funny enough, the question might be, I don't know, maybe someone can have the question that, why is it important if someone is lusting after me? At least the person is desiring me. Is it a bad thing?
It's not a bad thing. So this is the thing, right? Even for married people, you're supposed to love primarily, but there's also a lust part of it. Yes, so married people are supposed to lust after each other. Do you understand? So before we come to that, the reason why a good relationship cannot be about lust alone instead of love is that you will not always be the object of a person's desire.
Or the bane of their existence.
You can always be the bane of somebody's existence, whether you like it or not, because that desire is coming from their body, from their flesh. And the flesh, if anything, is fickle.
Yep.
Do you understand? So that means that it is just a matter of time, whether you like it or not. You will stop being the bane of that person's existence.
Let me give you a good example. There's this trend I've seen that said, show me your high school crush and who you ended up with. Who was your high school crush?
I used to lust after fair women.
But did you ever have maybe any celebrity or any type of crush? Remember from I know
school?
One.
Like Jessica Alba.
Jessica Alba.
I was already in university by then.
There was this Harry Potter.
Yes, secondary school. That was Hermione Granger. Yes, the girl that played Hermione Granger. I like that girl that year. Not the secondary school. Yeah, I liked Hermione Granger.
And people like me was facing
life
and purpose and the things I want to achieve for myself. Who was my high school crush?
Let me not start. You didn't have on TV, but you had in school.
That's true. Did I ever have on TV? I can't remember. I'm sure I did. I have a feeling that if I pick my high school crush and I pick you, people might resemble a little bit.
Wow.
It was not my intention. So thank God that
it was lost enough after dark. Man, for a while.
So as we were saying, so just to help your point, right, about love versus lust.
It changes. So you can't build a relationship on lust.
Like 10 years ago, 5 years ago, and who is to say in the next 5 years to come, 10 years to come, 15 years to come, God knows what will be the most important thing for you.
Yes, the second part about it is that apart from the fact that you'll not always be the object of a person's desire, the second part is that the person will, because lust is about fulfilling their desire, the person will be using you even when it is not good for you.
Explain.
And it can be destroying your life.
Or give an example.
For example, if a man has looked at his lusting after you and you're the object of his desire, right? It doesn't mean he will do what is good for you. It just means that he will have you for using. So he will put you in the house to be having his children.
That you can satisfy his desires.
And he will want you to be in the house because you're satisfying his desires. But you will now say, I have some dreams and visions.
He will necessarily not will your good, or he will will your good to the point that it helps him get what he wants.
So you now come and say, I have some visions, I have some dream, I want to do this, I want to do that. And it will make him have to sacrifice his lust so that you can do that. And for example, he has stereotyped you as the woman that will stay in the house for you to be having sex with, and for you to be bearing his children. You now come and say, I want to go and do masters and be out of the house because there's some parts of me that wants to do some more things. He desires you to be in the house, and he will do anything to keep you in the house. He will even spend more money to make you happy to be in the house, but he is not going to do what is good for you, which is allow you go and express
something very important. He might even spend more money.
He will spend more money to keep you in the house. He will shower you with gifts, but all those things are the expression of his lust for you. He will even tell you that, do you know how much this thing costs me? No, he's doing that thing because he's using you for his pleasure. If his love is truly going to show, his love is to now will what is good for you. And what is good for you, I have God-given abilities that I need to express, that if I don't express, it will die and I will not be fulfilled. If he loves you, he should make sacrifices for that to happen. But no, he would rather make sacrifices for you to stay in the house. So those are the two reasons why lust is dangerous. Number one, because you will not always be the object of someone's lust. And also because the person will be using you even when it's not good for you.
True.
And
so how can you identify? How can you know?
Okay.
Practically speaking. So let me give an example. Let's say a guy is about to enter into a relationship. How does he know that this lady is not just
lusting after
him for what she's going to get?
So I think the first thing starts with understanding some basic things about life, right? And don't wait till you are 25 before you understand some things. You have to start understanding things as early as possible. And one of the first things you have to understand is that, funny enough, do you know generally, men and women tend to have different things that they lust about in their partner. One of the things that men tend to lust after, most times men lust after the looks of a woman. The looks of a woman, how hot she is and all that, and then how she can do maternal stuff, how she can take care of you, cook for you, things that appeal to the senses in that sense. Those are things that men tend to lust after in women. And whether she's a good cook, whether she'll make you feel good and massage your ego. Those are the kind of things that men lust after.
That's a very subtle one.
Yeah, very, very subtle. The kind of things that men lust after in women. And for women, what they lust after in men is status, money. They want someone. And those things, like we've said earlier, those things stem from our biopsychological differences. On the average, those things stem from them. So because a woman is a nurturer, she wants someone that can protect her, someone that can be competent enough to take care of her. On the average, they'll marry someone older than them. Someone that's been proven to be competent and good enough to take care of them. So that means that the physical KPIs for those kinds of things are things like status and money. So that's why women are naturally drawn to men that have more, while men are drawn to women that are sexy and will appeal to their ego and are cook and clean for them. So those are the kind of things that people tend to lust after. For both men and women. Right? So, but it doesn't mean that a man cannot lust after a woman because of her money. So, just talking generally. And it doesn't mean that women don't lust after men because of their looks. They can do that too.
Sex or
good sex and all that. So,
how do you identify?
So, how do you now identify? How do you tell the difference? For you to be able to tell the difference, you have to first of all understand what the end of love is and what the end of lust is. And so that means that you have to first understand that whoever it is you are getting into, the definition of love is that they are looking out for your good. So that means that they must know what good is. This boils down to our talk about hope, faith, hope, and love. That means they must know what good is, because you cannot say you are willing the good of someone when you don't even know what good is.
And how
so that means the values of a person is very, very important. For example, a person that believes that what is good for a woman is that she must stay at home and take care of children. The person cannot will your good as far as that is concerned. A woman that believes that a man is only useful
to the extent that he can bring money into the house.
That's such a person. It's not even just about the loss now. The person actually cannot even will you. The person is not capable of. So that love is a matter of the heart and the matter of a man's capacity, not a matter of a person's capacity, not a matter of the feeling. Love is not a feeling.
From where you've come, right? I think one good question one can ask, at least while dating, is, sincerely speaking, like, ask the person, what do you think is the best for me?
Good question. That's a nice one.
And
nice one.
Don't collect vibes. Don't collect wishu-washu. If you need the person to think deeply about that question,
yes,
try not to give the person expo. Because the beautiful thing about lust is, if I know that I need to turn my head upside down and hit the head for you to, I will turn my head upside
Yeah, I'll
down.
tell
Like,
all lie, I'll
the
pretend
desire is such a powerful one,
thing
right?
that you will do anything just to get
Do
it.
anything. So ask that question and ask it consistently. Do you remember when we did this and I kept asking, why do you really love me?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember?
Mm-hmm.
You answer me 2 weeks after. I'll ask you the question. I think not just ask once, but ask consistently.
Yeah.
And then watch the way the person. So if the person says
what the person says about the good of other people,
of other people as well.
The guy cannot be telling you the good for you is for you to be.
But when he sees other women, he sees them as place.
Yeah, exactly. That's it for the man.
I say no, you are not like that.
You are not like that.
Oh, honey. Oh,
you get
epic. That's true. I think it's a good question to always ask. And aside seeing how we treat other people, right? See also. I forgot my train of thoughts. Aside seeing how he treats, see also how he behaves in ways where things that you want are coming to you. Do you understand? Especially if it's at his expense. So let's see, you just tell him that, you want to go and read for your masters, or you're trying to get your masters. How much does he?
Why do we keep using his masters example?
I don't even know. You're the one that puts in my mouth, but I'm just using an example. So that he's not just giving you audio reasons, but how he's also reacting physically, what he's doing, and not just what he's saying to the things that he thinks are the best for you.
That gets me to this. That's what you said now. Just like the second thing I was going to say about how to differentiate between love and lust, right? So first of all, since the person understands what is good for you and has accepted what is good for you, the second thing is that the person has to demonstrate that they are willing to do what is good for you. You have to, the people have, just that person has to demonstrate that you are willing to do what is good for you, because these different layers of testing can actually catch people. After the person has demonstrated that they know what is good for you, and number one, number two, they've accepted that it is good for you. The third thing is that they have to demonstrate that they are willing to do what is good for you.
Sure.
And the way to know whether a person is willing to do what is good for you is not by what they say, because it's not mouth used to do stuff.
Especially if he's a Yoruba boy.
Exactly. Right. Waiting be that. I've already said exactly. Can you
posters.
Imagine? No.
But you said exactly from
I beg.
the depth of your heart.
You have to watch what the person is willing to do, right? And what the person does for your good. So that means that you actually have to watch the person, not just listen to what the person is saying. You actually have to watch, because if a person is smart enough to skip the hurdle, especially if you come from the same cultural context or you're from the same church, so both of you know street tennis. So the person knows in their head.
Be rapping for you.
The person knows in their head what should be good.
Yeah.
It's different from what the person does. So you have to actually watch what the person is doing, and what to watch for when someone what to watch for in what people are doing are what they do to other people and what they do to you.
Yeah.
You have to watch what they do to other people and what they do to you.
When people show you their behavior,
you have to believe them.
Yeah. Because that's another thing too, that
don't make excuses for people.
You sometimes we are very oblivious to how our own lusts or love can blind us to seeing some emotions, right, in relationship. But if you're looking for true answers and you're asking the right questions, then make sure you're open and honest enough to accept the answer that you get. Even if you don't like the answer, first accept the answer. Then now go and figure out what to do with the answer. Do you want to confront the person? Do you want to pray about it? But when they show you their behavior, no, that's how Tunde is. Tunde calm down. And he has showed you his behavior. That's okay.
Yeah, that's so you have to watch what the person is doing to see whether they love you. That's the reason why there are certain values or certain behaviors that people have that makes them incapable of loving. How some people say, the fact that a person desires you does not mean they love you.
Yeah.
A person might desire you very much, doesn't mean they love you. Right? There are some characters that people have that makes them incapable of loving.
Give me an example.
For example, a violent person
that
believes in beating a woman, that person does not love you.
Nope.
It doesn't matter what they say, I'll do anything for you, they buy you gifts and all that. That's not what love is. Love is not desiring a person. Love is willing the good of a person. So the person can lust after you very much, but the person does not love you.
Yeah.
Now, there's something one of the reasons why people fall for lust and think is love is that Someone lusting after you is extremely
I
satisfying.
was just about to say that it feels good to
It
be
feels
desired.
good. It feels good to be desired.
And not
feels
just to
good.
be desired, not just to be desired with mouth, but to where somebody is now acting towards you in a way
They're
that's
showering you gifts, they're giving you attention,
pressing all
and it's
the
consistent,
buttons.
just doing everything. They are listening to you, you are making calls, they're actually listening to what you're saying. A person can actually do all those things and still just be lusting after you because they want you, because they've known that when they do all those things, it might not even be, there's another part of it that someone can be lusting after you and they're not consciously planning not to love you.
Okay.
A person, sometimes people lust and they don't know that they are not loving this person.
They too are just blinded by their own desire.
Their own desire for
and
the person.
And they're just parroting.
And they themselves honestly think that that's what it means to love a person. They think their lust is actually love and they don't even know.
Until they answer the question, to what end?
To what end?
Great.
So there are some values that a person has that makes them incapable of loving. One is that if a person is violent, for example, a person cannot love you.
Yeah.
Number two, somebody that is indigent and lazy and doesn't want to work for the family cannot love you.
He will never be able to, even if in the head he wants to will your good, he's incapable of acting out.
He's incapable of acting it out.
Yeah.
So the person cannot take care of you. He cannot take care of you. He cannot do what is necessary for what is good for you.
Yeah.
Someone that has the value system that you are inferior to him or her cannot love you. That's why love is more than just a feeling. Love is having the right understanding and also being capable of it.
Yeah.
That's why no matter how much a woman is happy that she has a child, or a man is happy that he has a child, if he believes that it's okay for that 3-year-old child to be drinking vodka, you don't love that child. Says, my child, don't take my child away from me. I love my baby. You don't love the baby. You think you desire the baby, you don't love the baby.
Yeah. Because you're not willing the good.
You're not willing the good of that child.
And I think this also, another thing that came to mind, it also shows how sometimes some people in their mind, in their head, can know what they know, but maybe at that particular point in time, they are actually not ready to love another person, right? Because they know that their current state, where they are, what they are doing, will make it almost so impossible, like very difficult to be able to properly love the other person. Maybe due to how they are at that particular point. I'm trying not to use examples so it doesn't look as if I'm talking about materialistic things only. Maybe mentally you are going through something, right? Or emotionally, you know that you are dealing with stuff, right? That's not the right time to say you want to start looking for love. When you know that you're still dealing with your demons of violence, you're still trying to, maybe you're going through therapy to work through things. Why would you want to put another person in the war front of receiving that side of you when you know that you are not yet there?
Exactly. So that's why there's even a part of, you want to date someone, you have to date till the person is ready to know how to love, or the person is now ready or capable of loving.
Yeah.
That's why sometimes when someone is too young and their values are not informed, they cannot really love. They are just head over heels in love, but they cannot really love.
Yeah.
That's why obsession and infatuation is not love.
That's why it will always be cringy for me, right? If I see someone like a 27, 30-year-old guy trying to date an 18-year-old girl. Like, I don't know.
Depends on how mature the girl is. Our ancestors were getting married at that age.
But look at the gap I said now. I didn't say a 21-year-old marrying an 18-year-old.
If it was 40 and 25, uncle.
It would be better because I'm not looking at the age of the guy. I'm looking at the age of the younger person.
Okay.
That's why I said.
So it's not just about the gap, it's the age.
It's not just
too.
about the gap.
I get.
It's the age too, right? So someone 18 that's, they are mature 18-year-olds, but you can tell that
because she might not. Yeah, I guess that.
It's very cringy.
It might be easy to manipulate such a person.
It's easier to manipulate. So, how do you tell that if you are willing the good of that person? How do you tell that person has gotten to the point where they also are capable
of receiving love and giving
love, like loving you for your own good, as against loving you because they are almost worshiping you and things like that. And this definition, this difference, you can apply to so many things.
Yes.
Aside relationships, or let me put it aside guy-girl relationships, even friendships. So many.
Even people that you work with, people that you recruit to work for you, it matters.
Are you supposed to love the people you are recruiting to work for you?
There are some levels of people that you want to work with. So if you are working as the founder of some very particular levels where
business
you want
relationship.
someone
I'm not even
that is in to support the idea.
Let me not say what I want to say in case my future employers are going to listen to this. But
Okay,
it's
but I want to say
business.
something. I want to say something.
Yeah, go ahead.
What I want to say is that as much as what we're saying is true, married people, the best marriage is a marriage that has both love and lust.
Okay.
But love primarily, love first, the duty first.
Why is that
before the
lust
lust.
important? What are you looking
So,
for?
so that you can enjoy the benefits of someone desiring you and you also giving desire to someone.
People can't love desire.
No, that's why I'm saying we should not conflict it. We should separate them and
see
have
them
them
for
both
what it
for what
is.
they are.
Yeah.
So you can lust. It's good that you can lust after your partner. It's good that you lust after them. But that cannot be the foundation of your marriage. That cannot be the primary thing. The primary thing has to be the love, which is the duty to the good of the person. That has to be the primary thing, then followed by lust. However, if you must pick one,
Of course.
like I always say, pick love.
Please.
Pick a love, lustless marriage, like our ancestors did, over a lustful but loveless marriage. If you must pick one that's full of love. Because at the end, lust is extremely amenable. We're just saying the same thing we said about the hierarchy in a different way.
Yeah.
Lust is extremely amenable because the thing about lust is that, funny thing is that lust, the thing that people desire, that you want to benefit from people, is actually those two things: personality, interest, and status, sex, and money. Those are the two things that are component of lust.
Of lust, but never the first.
It's never the first. You don't lust after someone because the person is
love, faith, and hope.
Because love, faith, and hope. No, those are the things that form the person's core values. That's the good of the person.
Okay. So I'm going to end this episode in a very special way.
Okay.
We'll always love you. Ooh.
I don't want you to sing for me.
Ooh.
I want you to love me on my own terms. We should talk about that.
Always lost you.
I don't want you to lose me.
You cannot stop me from losing after
If you love me,
director better cut.
If you love me, please give me lamb suya.
Okay, that lamb suya.
Yes.
We'll always lost you because you're not getting any lamb suya.
Okay, please subscribe and share.
Yeah.
I'll see you guys at the next episode.
All right.